So this dipshit in Washington wants to take over Greenland and basically Venezuela. Okay, 50 million barrels of oil. That's all. 50 million barrels of oil. Does anybody think that he's going to stop at 50 million barrels of oil with Venezuela? No. This is what he wants. He wants to make as many countries during his presidency as he can a state. Can somebody tell me what in the fiddly fuck is the difference in Fox News, Sean Hannity, and Donald Trump bitching about when Joe Biden was president? What is the difference about us progressive Democrats wanting, him accusing us of wanting to turn Puerto Rico and Guam into a state? He's an idiot. And him turning Venezuela, Greenland into a state to enrich his top 1% oligarchs and also the oligarchs of Russia. He proclaims that getting Greenland from Denmark is key to defense against China. Oh, whoa, Donald Trump. Are you so scared of China? First of all, Donald, you stupid dipshit fuck. Greenland ain't in the Pacific, you damn fuck. China is on the Pacific side. Greenland's not. So, he wants a sheet of ice. That's what he wants. Because that's what Greenland is. It's a pure sheet of ice and blankets of snow. This man is absolutely the most stupidest, ignorant son of a bitch that I have ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot of dumbasses, but you can't top him. You can't top a malignant narcissist. They are the most psychotic, dangerous, weaponizing, womanizers, homophobic, Islamophobic, Hispanic phobic, any name you want to call it, haters. That's what they are. And they are all about they are trying their damnedest to force radical, far right Christianity on people. What I mean by that is the Christianity that the neo-Nazis uh, worship. That's not Jesus. That's not God. They think it is, but it's not. There's only one God. That's the progressive God. That's the progressive God that says, I love all, I accept all into heaven. Conservative, far right, extremist, evangelical Christians, they can't stand to hear that. It is death to their ears. They're trying to push their movement and shove their movement on everybody. And speaking of, something happened this week. So I heard on the news, J.D. Vance's home was broke into. I mean, tough stuff. When you hang around malignant narcissists, bad things happen. I do condone violence. I will say that much. I don't support stuff like that, no matter who it's against. But the people in this administration and the president himself, they support stuff like that. I want to make that clear. They're criminals. They're criminals hard to the core. They're backed by Russian oligarchs. They're backed by neo-Nazis. They're backed by far right-wing evangelical Christians who claim to be Christians that are not Christians. Because the God that I know and the Jesus that I know, he's not narcissistic. He preaches and teaches us love and enlightenment. That's something that far right extremists like Donald Trump and his megas, they can't stand to hear because they're wimps. They can dish it out, but then when it comes time to take it back, they can't do it. They have a complete meltdown. They'll call you names. They think they're hurting your feelings, but they don't. It's like, why don't they get in the middle of the mirror and take a picture of themselves just to see how ugly they are? They go around talking about people wanting handouts and stuff and blame Democratic voters for wanting handouts. Let me make this clear. Do your research. who collects the most benefits from the welfare programs? Our social safety net programs. They want to blame they want to blame Democrats for it. And progressive Democrats and stuff. They are far ahead in collecting social safety net programs. There's more MAGA Republicans that collect social safety net programs like food stamps and stuff that poor people need than any other class of voters in the history of this country. I want to make that be clear. But then when you call them out on it, they call you names. They can dish it out. They just can't take it back in. You know the golden reward. And I've often used this a lot of times in sports. If you can't take it when your team loses, right? To say, like, if your team loses to my team, you talk all your crap to me all year long about how your team is going to beat my team down, and then my team, when it comes game time and we win, and you don't expect me to give it back to you, you got another thing coming. It's like a sports person that can dish it out, that just can't take it back in. Except for this is about much far more important stuff. There's nothing in this country worth celebrating right now. Nothing. Our democracy has been completely destroyed. People can't afford to buy anything. They can't afford to buy nothing. There's a lot of people out here that can't afford to buy anything. And it's because of Donald Trump. And I wasn't a big fan of Joe Biden. He did have a little bit of a handshaking on it too. But mainly Donald Trump. Now, when we start talking about his so-called $2,000 stimulus, right? Has anybody got it yet? No. Does it need to be sent out? No. Why? Well, do you want inflation to go up by 25% on top of what it already fucking is right now? Keep your fucking $2,000, you piece of shit. Don't nobody want a fucking dime you got, especially on the hands of the American taxpayers' dollars. And I hope he stumbles upon this video. The man is sick. He's deteriorating very fast. And I'm starting to think that he's got a little bit of dementia that's starting to form. Why does he continue to undergo psychiatric evaluations? If that's not the case, could it possibly be because of his his malignant narcissism? Maybe. I don't think the mega Republicans would even want him to go to therapy for something like that, because it would make them look very bad. As if they already don't. They've already lost the election next year. They've got no chance to win the elections next year in the midterms. I give them no chance. I will say this much. The best thing that can happen to the United States of America right now is 2028. And will there be a peaceful transition of power? That depends on who wins. If it's Mike Johnson or if it's J.D. Vance, I think it might be a little bit of a peaceful transition, but with a malignant narcissist, they tend to not like to give up control to anybody. So it still may not be a peaceful transition of power, but if a Democrat wins, you can bet your ass that he's going to do everything he can, start as many wars as he can, to stay an emergency power. And this is why it is key that we have to win the House and the Senate by a unanimous spread. So that way, if he tries to, he can be thrown out. No one's above the law. They're not supposed to be, but with MAGA in control right now, Donald Trump is actually above the law. And I believe his partners is above the law too. And they're wanting to they want to do anything to destroy this country. I remember days back when I could order from Amazon and I could get my stuff in 3 days. Now it takes a fucking week for it to get here due to staffing shortages. The sooner 2028 gets here, the better. And I noticed one thing too on New Year's night. It was odd. It was the most oddest New Year's night that I have ever seen. There wasn't really a lot of celebration. There was more people that's just, they're miserable right now. They can't afford nothing. A lot of people. Except for his voters. Or, his MAGAs. You know. The MAGA Republicans. The elite. Elon Musk. That crook from South Carolina called Lindsey Graham. Republicans did lose another seat. By the way, yesterday they had a senator that died from health complications. I don't wish that on anybody, but it's one less senator that they've got. So MAGA just continues to get bad news, right hand and left hand. It just continues to get worse and worse and worse for them. And the worst is coming in the midterms this year for them. It's going to be very, very interesting next year about this time. After the House and Senate is recontrolled again, it's going to be very interesting. Because I don't see MAGA's legs are getting shorter and shorter. Day by day. Minute by minute. Second by second. Oh, and I forgot to mention hour by hour too, but what does that matter? That's why I urge you to get out, vote for the most progressive Democrat that you can find. And if it's not a progressive Democrat that doesn't win, and if the Democrats do win, at least it's different than what we've got now, because this is far right extremist. What we're being controlled by is far right neo-Nazis. That's the truth. And this cult leader is trying to take the American taxpayers' dollars and make Venezuela and Greenland a state, and as many countries as he can. That's what he wants to do. But that's up to us. We can change that starting this year. All right. Peace out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button. Whatever comments you got them. That's all I can tell you. Either you support what I think, my progressive views, or you don't. I really don't give a shit. I can tell you. Guaranteed. Peace out.